Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Laura Ebke with the National Chair of the LP Caucus, and with me is Alexander. Okay, I can never say your name right, so go ahead, Alex.
DiBenedetto.
DiBenedetto. Okay, this old German can't say it very well. So anyhow, we are here trying out our new system, and we'll also take your questions here. If anybody is out there, and we'll see what happens. So, Alex, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that the LPC caucus is doing these days. And remember, folks, you can ask questions. You can view us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, so just go searching for Libertarian Pragmatist Caucus on the on YouTube as well. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing. Trainings. Alex, what are some of the things that we've been doing in terms of trainings for libertarians?
Absolutely. So one of the things we wanted to do to help prepare for the important 2022 elections is provide trainings for candidates and campaigns. So last month, we did our first training of the year with campaign data, kind of an overview of what a customer relations manager is, CRM. And this month, we're joined by probably one of the very brightest in the movement, Apollo Pizzell, who's going to be doing a training on, he's great. He's going to be doing a training on what office to run for, like what's the, kind of the beginning stages of running for office. A lot of people have been asking us questions about, hey, I'm thinking about running for office. What should I do to prepare? And there's a lot of really great trainings that you can do. I think AFP's Grassroots Leadership Academy will teach you how to tell a great story. The Leadership Institute has a great candidate training that'll help you learn how to, what are you going to experience emotionally and this sort of things on the campaign trail, as well as a campaign management school that are pretty low cost. But we wanted to provide an opportunity for people in the caucus who were in the broader movement as well to have a free training they could go to online where they could ask questions and they could learn more about running for office. So that's coming up towards the end of the month. And you can check out all of our events at lpcaucus.org/events.
And we will run that banner right now. I'm still learning how to get all of these banners going at the right time. We need to be a little more coordinated, but it's kind of exciting. Okay, so we've got events coming on. We've got other events happening too. We've got our town hall series. You want to? Andy Craig and I are hosting a town hall series about once a month. Last month we had Representative Marshall Burt from Wyoming. This month we have Trish Butler and Jim Turney, who are city council members, one in Tennessee and one in Florida, right?
Yep, that's right. And I'm really excited. I know that a lot of people are maybe looking at running for office, and you kind of want to have an idea of what to expect once you're in office before you're there, ideally, right? Kind of understand what's it like in the life of a city council person. So I'm personally very excited to see what Andy and you, Laura, are going to help us learn about in that upcoming town hall.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that we really wanted to do out of all this was to, as you point out, really give people an idea of how important it is to kind of know what you're running for, but also to understand what kind of a difference people can make at their local in these local offices. Another thing that we plan on doing, I don't know if it'll be the March or the April one, we're going to bring in some folks who have been appointed to boards and commissions. So it's not always about running an election and winning. Sometimes it's a matter of just being in the right place at the right time and getting appointed to something, and we'll be able to see what kinds of things libertarians can accomplish at those levels. So it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the town hall series is really important, and I think that it's something that's going to help the entire movement learn how to maybe get more involved in the political process. So rather than kind of being on Facebook and being upset about legislation, Something I was just talking about with our volunteer director, John Prosser, earlier this morning. He mentioned this great quote about, showing up. And I forget exactly the quote, so I won't reattempt that here live. but yeah, I mean, if you just showing up gives you an outsized influence as a libertarian.
There's the old saying that decisions are made by those who show up. And
yeah, I think that was it. Actually,
is that it? Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to encourage folks to do is to show up and to be involved. And it's not always about running for president or running for Congress. Right now, the Libertarian Party odds are pretty long on those positions. But as Representative Burt and the Frontier Project demonstrated, legislative seats are not outside the realm of possibility, and certainly we have hundreds of city council and county officials and school board members around the country. So, you can make a difference without leaving your own community. Let's talk about happy hour. We're doing a happy hour. I think this next Friday, right?
Yep. That'll be fun. Yeah, coming up on this coming Friday. Yep. There'll be a happy hour with Laura and whoever else.
Yeah.
So
that's a good time. And again, you can connect to that on our website. If you go to the events page, you can connect there. And we like to have an opportunity to just kind of sit around and talk and ask and answer questions and that sort of thing. Okay, so people who are out there. Oh, here we are. We've got at least one comment. Becky says, I would have really benefited from this when serving on the Omaha DID. I don't know what the DID is, but I was clueless how to have a real impact beyond just being the token libertarian. So that's one of those commissions that you can certainly have an impact on. And thanks, Becky, for, let me see if trying this too. See, we can put Becky's question up there.
That's awesome.
So that is.
I just Googled. Oh yeah, Becky's given it to us. But I Googled it. We had downtown improvement district, and I know there's every city that I'm aware of pretty much has areas they're trying to improve of the city.
Yeah.
And so getting on planning commissions and downtown improvement districts is often a matter of showing up and from my experience, befriending a city council person.
Planning commissions and zoning boards and things like that are a tremendous place for libertarians to go because we respect property rights, and so that's a good place for us to try to make an impact. And what I always tell folks in Nebraska is that a lot of the boards and commissions, even at the state level, they require appointment of, it doesn't have to be perfectly equal, but you have to have a certain number of members of the commission who aren't members of the governor's party. So like in Nebraska, if you've got an 8-member commission, at least 4 of them have to be Democrats or non-Republicans in Nebraska, right? And so that's a nice way for libertarians to slide in there because it helps the Republican governor not have to appoint a Democrat. And so we had to find ways to get in.
Absolutely.
Paul Robbins has a great comment here. You make an impact by showing people how libertarians represent people. Yeah. Our great ideas will resonate better when people know us and see how we are as elected officials. Absolutely. Paul, thanks so much for that comment. Okay, so we've got happy hour, we've got town halls, we've got trainings. What else do we have going on?
Lots of state conventions coming up, and I was excited. My home state convention, sorry, Nevada, love Nevada, moved to Arizona though. So my home state convention now is the Arizona Libertarian Party convention. I was held out back in January. It was exciting to connect with folks, learn more, but most importantly, just to kind of meet other libertarians that you don't get to see very often. It's exciting that we have a couple convention. March is going to be real busy, but coming up almost immediately, we have Mississippi and Tennessee in a couple weeks, and so those will be fun. I'll be personally at Mississippi and Tennessee. So if you're looking to reach out to the caucus or learn more about us, I'm happy to meet up with any of you. And I believe the DC Libertarian Party is having an online one in 3 weeks. And so that'll be fun also. And then there's a whole bunch in March. So I know there's a lot of places that are posting these, but I know that the national chair of the Libertarian Party, Joe Bishop Henchman, and his Facebook group has a running list of both links to, RSVP, learn more about it, as well as the dates for state conventions. And hopefully not too much of a segue, but I think that's the best place to start getting involved as someone who's a small L, maybe looking to branch into the main Libertarian Party. Some of these states parties need a lot of help, and you can have an outsized influence in your own Libertarian Party locally by showing up to state conventions, volunteering to be on committees, even running for offices if that's something that you're interested in. Everything from filing FEC reports for some states that are FEC filings to their own local ones. If you're, good at that sort of thing, everyone's always looking for good accountant, treasurer people to do that kind of stuff, get that in on time. But yeah, there's always a variety of things. I volunteered to be on the Arizona State Libertarian Party bylaws committee. I'm kind of a little bit of into that. So I enjoy the pain and punishment. So yeah, there's all kinds of ways to get involved, but I would say that, definitely going to your state convention this year, make a plan to do that. That'd be the number one thing I think any libertarian should do this year.
So, so Matt Brown here has a comment. Alex, and you've been around the Pragmatist Caucus since the very beginning. You want to tell him a little bit about our history?
Absolutely, Matthew. So I was actually not here at the very beginning. So it was founded by this gentleman named Nick Ferlini and a bunch of other folks who were, they saw the Gary Johnson, Bill Weld sort of movement, and they felt like it could have gone better in terms of result. Now, it did a lot better than any historical result, but they meant more of a grassroots, right? Like starting small, electing people into city council and getting people appointed and winning state legislative seats, like working your way up to, president, and then also kind of pushing pragmatic policy positions. So that's kind of how it started. But it was really just an informal group, right? An informal collection of libertarians who were kind of like, hey, we can do better, right? And we should do better. We are, at that time in 2017, they were looking at, we're almost at 50 years as a party. Where are we going to be? Like, what are we going to put down that we've accomplished, right? Besides being kind of a line in the sand, right? What's the pragmatic, steps that we can start pushing, and how can we connect other people nationally who might feel like they're alone? I don't know about you, but there's times in my libertarian movement days where I felt like I was the only sane person in the room, and no one else understands that the whole goal is to get someone elected to push these policy positions. You can't just be, we can't just talk about the end goal forever and never make progress. Yeah. So it was about progress, I think.
I think that it's important for people to realize that we are very much a non-ideological caucus. I can't stress that enough. The leadership and members come from all different kind of varieties of libertarian, and we don't really care. I would say, we're just trying to get things done.
Great 80% plus rule. I think that for more or less, for lack of a better kind of a thumb, and you're kind of more or less 80% inclined with the party platform, we'd love to work with you. And the fact is, I think that the pragmatic approach, it gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's not about watering down or anything. It's about progressing towards the Libertarian Party platform. Absolutely. If you don't like, let's say, immigration, let's say that's an issue for you. Certainly allowing more immigrants in is a better, more pragmatic step, right, than going backwards and allowing less immigrants in. So having an influence and lobbying and doing things that help, lower the tax rate, help increase the efficacy of schools. This is something interesting, actually, Laura, I thought I'd bounce off of you. I was just reading about this idea of libertarians getting into office And the idea is that the Democrats and Republicans want to spend this money no matter what. Sometimes they won't lower the tax rate or spending no matter what you do, no matter what you say. But libertarians can maybe redirect them towards better uses for the money. And by better, I mean they benefit more people, they return more money to people's hands, they help disadvantaged communities, like places with some hurricane hits or something. They're actually going towards helping instead of maybe blowing up people in other countries, right? So
that'd be a good idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that libertarians are more inclined to, it depends on the libertarian, I suppose. But I mean, I think that we're often inclined as office holders to look at at more of a cost benefit analysis, and with a presumption towards people keeping their own money to the greatest extent possible. And we may differ on what that greatest what that extent should be. Amongst libertarians. I mean, but we still think that it's more than now, and so I think that's a really important thing for us to keep in mind. So Mercedes, who is in Nebraska, says be involved in your local community, be a member of your community. Mercedes is the chicken lady in Kearney, Nebraska. She's been taking it. She ran for the legislature, but she also took it to the city council in Kearney to try to get chickens. I don't know the whole detail, but let chickens be in the city limits. And so, because they had a thing against that. So I mean, she's out there raising a stink about chickens, and that's awesome, isn't it? Okay, so and she also points out I'm the grown-up. I don't know if that's true, but I'm old. So, and she's still fighting. She says that's even better. Keep fighting, everybody. The last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was, with respect to not just the state affiliates and people being involved in their LP, but if you want to get involved in the LP caucus, let's talk a little bit more about some ways that people can do that. So that's your
sure.
that's your stuff.
I'll take that away.
Okay.
So the first thing I would say is if you want to sign up, go to get involved or join, or even just lpcaucus.org. There's a nice big purple button right there in the front to tell you how to get signed up. So we do emails once to twice a month. We try not to overdo it. We might send you more frequent emails if you sign up to do something like volunteer, be a state coordinator, but we try to give you kind of a general email every couple of weeks. So that's the first step, I'd say. Giving us a like on Facebook will help you keep in, kind of if you're on Facebook, keep you in contact with us as we share different cool things. Like recently this week, we shared something cool about Evan McMahon in Indiana, working hard to kill a bill that would have virtually made it impossible to run as a libertarian, competitively anyway, in Indiana. So their lobbying and the work that they did to stop that is something interesting that we thought other states would want to emulate. Often these bad bills can be killed much easier than they can be undone later, right? Once they're in the law, it's a lot harder to erase it than it is to stop a bad bill by just pointing out how bad it is, right?
Absolutely.
So those are some ways you can get involved. And then if you sign up on Get Involved, it'll ask you some questions about if you'd like to do some graphic design for us, be a state coordinator. And those are things where we can kind of talk about, and we'll reach out to you directly about how you can help the caucus, progress. We are adding a ton of state coordinators this year. We actually have decided to open up kind of a second and third spot for a lot of states. Like states like California, it's just so huge, for example, that, it makes sense to have more than just one person. So, even if you already know that we have a state coordinator in that state, it'd be really great to sign up. So if that's something you're interested in, there's a checkbox there. And I'd say the third best way you can get involved in the, in the caucus is by intending to go to the national convention in 2022. So, we said it before, elections are decided and, things are decided by those who show up. It's in Reno. I mean, it's a fun city. I can say, I know I'm biased because I was living in Nevada, and that's how you say it, by the way, it's Nevada.
Not Nevada.
But Reno's fun. Yeah, not Nevada. That doesn't exist. Yeah, Nevada. But yeah, I think that's a way that you can get involved and have an outsized influence on the national LP's direction. And so we kind of have two focuses as a caucus, really. We have that internal focus on making the LP better. And by better, we mean more focused on electing, officials, more resources and support for electing, officials to all sorts of offices, and things that, I think a lot of us agree are pretty basic, but sometimes you got to work on basics. And the second focus is our directly trying to help candidates get elected, right? And that involves that's where our trainings, town halls come in, as well as pointing people to donate to specific campaigns individually, not through our caucus necessarily, but going to those campaigns directly to give money to candidates that have a good shot. So
Becky says it's Nevada.
Nevada. In Iowa, it's Nevada. I don't know. I have no way of doing that accent, I think, to pull off how that probably is pronounced. But yeah, it's a kind of a sticking point with Nevadans. That you say it the right way. And I learned that very quickly as not a native born Las Vegan, that you will say it right.
So is there anything else we need to tell people tonight? This has been a pretty good test, I think, of the emergency broadcast system or whatever it is, Is there anything else we need to tell folks before we get going? Remind them about Friday night, happy hour.
Absolutely. So Friday night's happy hour, and a week from today at roughly the same time, I think, is our
middle
town
of the
hall.
afternoon. Yeah. I think it's more like roughly 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So on our website, lpcaucus.org/events, you can see all of the upcoming events. We tend to post them about 4 weeks out. So you can check back there. And again, if you're looking to attend a state convention, Joe Bishop Henchman has a running list in his Facebook group. I think that's a great resource for people to know when it's coming up. And immediately, though, Tennessee, Mississippi, and DC later this month.
Yeah, and the notifications for the live streams go live about a week ahead of time. We can't post it any further than that. So when we get done today, we'll post the stuff for next Saturday's event, and the happy hour is on the Google. The Google Meet, right? I think. And so there's a link that you can find on our website. So, hey, everybody, thank you for being here tonight and giving us a chance to test drive this. We weren't sure how it was going to work. It seems to have worked okay. Be interested in hearing your feedback. So feel free to message either me or Alexander. And Scott says that the YouTube feed has the audio and video in sync and the Facebook feed doesn't. I don't know. We'll have to check that out.
Look after once the live video is finished. We'll take a look, Scott, and we'll take a look at that before next.
See if we can figure it out. But that's why we put the that's why we picked this particular type of format, because we can go to YouTube. We can send it to several different streams at the same time. Maximize our reach. So hey, again, thank you everybody, and we'll see you on Friday for the happy hour, I hope.